From Winterberg, Germany, welcome to the GCN Show!
Welcome to the GCN Show! We are Team Get Incentive!
Welcome to the GCN Show.
This week we take a look at possibly the best cycle safety scheme ever launched, plus trucks banned on the streets of London.
Okay, and now you need to switch on though, first of all. So we put the handbrake back on again. That's it, so just turn the key.
We have got Colombia dominating the last monument of the year. We have got Terminator outbursts and bike smashing in Milan. Plus all of our usuals as well.
This is going to be a bumper show. It's time now for Caption of the Week. Now last week it was this rather fun picture of Nairo Quintana. And the winner is Kinsanth75, who said, Caption, Movistar taking this rotor covers a bit too far, which did make me laugh.
I like that.
Very good.
I like that.
Yeah, very good.
Right then, next up, we have this photo of Greg Van Avermaet and a newly retired Fabian Cancellara. Dan, you going to get started, mate?
Yeah. Greg, ready? 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the GCN Show. Do you think that will get in?
That's a really long caption though, isn't it? But it's good.
Yeah, I think that's great.
It's just long.
Good work, Dan. If you think you can beat him, then please submit your captions in the comment section down below.
It's time now for Hack /
Hey, you got it
Bodge
right.
of the Week. Firstly, Yuri Reitzberg suggested last week that Fancy Bears be nominated for GCN Hack of the Week. Once
Nice
again,
one.
see exactly what you did there. But we are going to start properly with probably the most genius GCN hack I have ever seen in my life from Andrew O'Neill, who simultaneously trains indoors and rocks his baby to sleep. That is just
Skills
amazing.
right there.
You probably want to be doing
That
low
is genius.
cadence work. If you're doing like
You would.
an
If
interval
you're
or whatever,
sprinting,
it might,
baby just shoots out. It'd be a nightmare, wouldn't it?
Don't try that at home.
No, don't sprint and rock your
Moving
baby.
swiftly on, we've got this great one from Grunder David on Facebook.
Is that scaffolding?
At first glance, it looks a little bit like a mid-90s Proflex mountain bike. But
It
no,
does actually, yeah.
it's been made from scaffolding. Questionable geometry. I mean, it's a good effort, but it's definitely
Can
a
you
botch.
imagine going to have a
Sorry.
pavé on those forks? Crumbs. Anyway, next up we have this from Hannah Maniton. My husband made me this. What do you think? GCN hack of a different kind.
Pretty
It's a
good.
little keyring made out of a couple of chain links there.
like
Very nice actually.
Yeah.
Very.
I'm sure about the fact that
yeah,
you
very
chose quite
crafty.
a low-end chain to make your keyring, but
It's
still.
quite an old chain
point.
as well, not even a new one, but still, that's a definite hack.
Could have
isn't
buffed
it?
it up a bit though, couldn't
Next up, this one from Alex Taiwan Andy, who has found out that if you've run out of tie levers, you can use 3M hanger hooks, which neatly hook behind the rim as well.
That's quite cool.
it? Very nifty.
I think that is a definite hack. Now
Love this
this
next one.
one is a definite hack / bodge. Because look at that. 2 cooking spatulas have been fashioned into an extraordinary lock.
With a padlock at the
yeah,
end.
it works. It's a padlock.
Yeah, thanks
fair play,
Leyland
that one.
Grigoli for
Don't
sending
know
that
what
one
to
in.
say.
I love that one.
That's astonishing.
Well, also usable. You could never flip an egg with a D-lock, could you?
No.
Or a chain lock. No. It's probably the only lock that you could use for cooking.
Very little cooking I can think
good
of that you
point.
can do with a D-lock.
Well, next up we have this moving on rather swiftly to Network Plumber. Old stem and track bars used in a room bike hanger in U2 Cycle Hotel. Using that. That's pretty cool. I've seen that used
We
before.
have
That's
seen
a
something similar, haven't we?
particularly
But I do
good
like
job.
Cycle Hotel.
Very neat.
This
indeed.
one is very useful. It's a hack that came in. I'm already nominating it as a hack from Marc Anthony Sanchez. Thank you, friend and teammate Daniel Schumacher, for the custom-made bike fit tool.
That gets me quite excited.
Oh.
No, not like that.
You do
It's
like a ruler, don't you?
Well, it just
A set square.
measuring your bike is just a pain, isn't it? That thing, you just be like, it fits. Done.
Back in the olden days, Pascal Richard, my ex-teammate, former Olympic champion, when he used to get his bike set up, he used to have a little wooden box and take out this set of rulers, which he then screwed into place and fashioned it against his bike to get the perfect geometry. It was lovely to see.
So basically like that?
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Did he do
wood.
this though? The final hack this week, / bodge, from Rod Fountain, who sent in this, which is the most sophisticated chain guard I've probably ever seen.
Yeah.
Right.
There is a bit of chain sticking out over the top, unfortunately.
It's basic, but it clearly does the
Possibly
job.
a bodge.
Yeah.
But
Does the
yeah.
job.
Anyway, if you can do better or worse than that, make sure that you send your hacks and bodges in using the hashtag GCN hack. Again, on various forms of social media.
And if you can think of anything cooking you can do with a D-lock, please let us know.
Yeah.
In the comments below.
Or U-lock.
Hashtag rudimentary.
Some very choice tech for you this week, and we'll start off with yet another dispatch from Vegas from yours truly at Interbike. I was there working very hard and not partaking in any mineral waters.
Of course you weren't.
See, guys, I was working. Look, I made another film.
That's Vegas.
This is not a suspension seat post apparently, it is an isolation post called the body float. And it got a bit of attention recently when Denise Muller rode it to a world record for women's speed on a bike of 147.7 miles per hour. Pretty incredible, I think you'll agree. The idea behind it, along with giving a bit of extra safety when you're going at close to 150 miles per hour, is increased comfort for a rider and also increased power transfer. So this absorbs a lot of the bumps and shocks beneath you. All you've got to do then is concentrate on getting the power out to the pedals. Now the good thing about it is that through this parallelogram design, the pivot here, it means there's no effective saddle change when you are riding it over that bumpy terrain, which is something that doesn't get offered by a normal suspension seat post. You can also adjust the tension of the springs here at the back depending on your own personal weight, your own personal pedalling style and the cadence that you normally prefer. And you can also adjust it on the fly as you're riding if you're going over some different terrain. So I think this is going to be particularly interesting for those of you who like to head out on those gravel rides fairly often, but also for professional riders who like to race over cobbles. So I'm going to be interested to see if any of the teams next year are testing these out before the likes of Tour of Flanders and Paris-Roubaix. Now there is some science behind this. Once again, it did go over my head slightly, so if you want more information you can go to ridebodyfloat.com and you'll find plenty of stuff there.
And you're trying to tell me that's not a suspension seat post?
No, it's not a suspension seat post.
If I'm completely honest, I do struggle with the idea of like springs and dampers on road bikes. Something not quite right there. Anyway, the world's hardest cyclocross race took place the other week. And we say world's hardest, it is ridiculous. It takes place on terrain you'd struggle to believe even when you're actually riding on it.
Or walking it.
Well, yeah. Or running, no, walking. Anyway, what is it doing in Tech of the Week, I hear you ask? Well, the winner, Paul Oldham, was using some rather nifty looking prototype disc brakes from what is primarily a mountain bike brand, Hope.
Yeah, now they're particularly interesting because they work with existing SRAM levers. Now I don't know really why you'd want to swap over to them, but apparently, according to Hope, they offer better modulation, increased power and better pad clearance. But I suppose a cyclocross race from hell for 3 hours is a pretty good place to start.
Yeah. How about this from niche German brand Lightweight? They're releasing a new frame and forks called The Ride. Looks pretty aero. Disc brakes, through axles, and apparently just 1,100 grams for the frame and fork.
That's lightweight.
Yeah. The best cycle safety scheme ever launched. Now that is not a bad accolade to get, but it's the exact label that was given to a new initiative here in the UK. So one of our local police forces, the West Midlands Police, have launched a new scheme to try to deter car drivers from overtaking cyclists too closely. And it is called Operation Close Pass.
Yeah, it's a cyclist's dream. Now, plainclothes police officers are out on bikes, and when a car passes too close, police cars up the road are then contacted, and that particular offending vehicle is stopped, and the driver is then given a choice: prosecution or a 20-minute lesson. Now, how often have you thought that would be great to happen to somebody who's passing you too close?
Oh,
I mean,
God.
happened to me today on the way to work, and I must admit, I was a little bit annoyed.
Unsurprisingly. To the best of our knowledge, this is the first scheme of its kind in the world, and West Midlands Police have said that they're just responding to direct concerns from the general public, who have stated that one of their primary reasons for being nervous about getting onto a bike and onto the open roads is those close overtaking manoeuvres.
Yeah, and it has been really successful, both from a publicity perspective, but also from a law enforcement perspective. Unsurprisingly, perhaps, there are a lot of car drivers out there that are getting stopped. In fact, West Midlands Police tweeted this just the other day. Hashtag close pass, Operation Lawley Middleway, 16 offenders, 2 prosecuted, 14 immediate educational inputs, that's probably that lesson you were talking about, 2 walking home, no tax/insurance, hashtag added value. That's quite cool, isn't it?
Yeah, and as Marc Hodgson said, one of the officers involved in this particular operation, mentioned to the Guardian newspaper, is the fear of prosecution that deters drivers the most.
I suspect that we are not going to be the only people slightly jealous now of cyclists in the West Midlands. However, if you had a similar scheme or something to do with cycle safety near to you, we would love to hear from you. Let us know your experiences in the comment section just down below. the GCN Awards, the most prestigious awards in the world of cycling.
Never touch one. It's that time of year again.
Cyclo-cross!
No, we're opening polling for the 2016 GCN Awards.
GCN Awards!
Indeed. Who was the best rider? What was the best race? Let us know your thoughts by voting and polling, or polling in the voting. And you can do that, voting, by clicking the link in the description below. I think you know what I mean.
Don't think so.
It's now time for cycling shorts.
We're going to start this week's cycling shorts with some cycling shorts, but not Dan's cycling shorts, some very different cycling shorts. Cast your mind back to last year and the Africa Kit Appeal initiative, which was started by Matt Bramyer of Dimension Data. Well, it's back. Now, last year they managed to collect an amazing, or more than 1,000 kilograms of kit, which went to 4 different countries in Africa. And this year they're stepping things up. They're going to try and get enough kit to give to every single country in Africa, which is amazing.
Wow.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing started out as a way for pros to do something worthwhile with the amazing amount of excess kit that they get given every year. But soon it was possible for the public to donate their kit too, which started last year. And you can donate in 4 different countries. If you'd like information on exactly how to do that, simply head over to www.africakitappeal.com.
That is a very worthy cause indeed. Now, last week you may remember that we released a video raising awareness of the dangers posed by trucks to us cyclists. And one of the problems of those trucks is actually the design of them and the really limited field of vision that they have. But now, those trucks could well be banned from the City of London in the UK by 2020. And that's following an announcement by the Mayor of London last week, saying that the lorries with the poorest fields of vision will be prevented from entering the city, which is incredible. What an amazingly positive step forward for cycling and pedestrian safety.
Well, on the other side of the coin, another cyclist was cautioned the other day by police in Germany. And that cyclist was Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, Arnie was stopped by the police riding his bike through the Oktoberfest station in Munich, but rather than kick off like he did in the movies as a mad cyborg, he stopped with the cops for a bit of a selfie. Maybe he's going soft in his old age.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be back soon. You might have looked a little bit like this next chap. Now, we're not quite sure why Jeremy Santucci lost his rag with his bike at the recent Red Hook Criterium in Milan on Sunday, but we are sure that his bike didn't deserve this particular treatment. Check this out.
It's already destroyed. It's destroyed there.
Jeremy.
Right, onto the transfer market next. And quite surprisingly, Taylor Phinney has announced that he'll be moving to Cannondale Drapac next year, following 6 years at BMC. Very interestingly, he tweeted that he was excited and refreshed by the opportunity. So, strange choice of words there, perhaps. And then, other news, Dimension Data just signed 3 riders. Lachlan Morton will be making his return to the World Tour following some pretty good results on the domestic scene in the US. Then they've also got Ben King, who'll be joining from Cannondale Drapac, and then also Scott Thwaites moves over from Bora.
And there's been some big moves in women's racing as well. Now, a rider who'd threatened to leave cycling altogether, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, is actually going to be back and racing for 3 years for Canyon SRAM. So that's some pretty big news.
Yeah,
and also,
tempted by that kit, probably.
Yeah, and ex-teammate Marina Vos is going to front the rebranded Rabo Liv team, and now from this point onwards, from next year, it'll be known as Fortitude Pro Racing.
Yeah, good to see Katja Nuvia-Doma staying there too. Next up, we have to report on another UCI World Hour record. Well done to Colin Lynch, who set a benchmark of 43.133 kilometres over the course of the hour in what was the first UCI paracycling sanctioned attempt. Now, he did the attempt and the record at the Manchester Velodrome. He described it as the hardest thing that he has ever done. So well done, Colin.
Yeah. Now, finally, with cycling shorts, we've got to say congratulations to Peter Sagan, now officially crowned World Tour Champion for 2016. What a season he's had.
Amazing.
Current World Champion, European Champion, now World Tour Champion. Is anyone ever going to do that again?
Probably Peter Sagan, really.
Probably.
Who has the last word in this little tweet?
Hello everybody, we will see in the Qatar, maybe, and I just go to embark.
we have got a confession to make. Our brand new, hotly anticipated GCN red Camelback bottles are now being increasingly sought after by us as much as they are by you, because unfortunately they were put on freight on a boat as opposed to a plane.
Yeah, we are really very sorry about it, and we have therefore launched an internal investigation to try and actually track down.
Was not me.
Of course, you're going to say that.
Wasn't
To try and
me.
track down the guilty party. And we are making the internal investigation open to the public as well. So if you want to see how it's getting on, track its progress, then please check out our Facebook page and find out exactly who was the guilty party.
He didn't say it wasn't him.
We are incredibly sorry, but again, it wasn't me.
It wasn't me. The World Tour concluded at the weekend with Il Lombardia, and probably the hardest edition of the modern era. A total of 4,400 metres of climbing over the 240 kilometres, so harder than a lot of Grand Tour mountain stages. No surprise then that the mountain goats came to the fore. Esteban Chaves eventually crowning off what's already been a fantastic season for him by winning a sprint with Diego Rosa in second and Rigoberto Urán in third.
Yeah, it was the young Colombian's first ever win in a monument, and actually the first ever monument win for Colombia, and he was the first non-European to win that particular classic. Now, Orica Green Edge, since their inception in 2012, have won 4 of the 5 monuments now, which is a pretty impressive record, with only Flanders remaining the one they haven't won.
That was some serious facting there, man.
There was a lot of facts.
That was a lot of facts.
Yeah.
Right, now, unfortunately, the day did not go completely smoothly for Orica Bike Exchange. They did it. Young Rob Power.
Oh, Robbie!
Young Rob Power, due to
Rob.
ride his first ever World Tour race, signed on, then missed the start.
Oh, no.
He missed the start. He then chased furiously, didn't get back on, so
Rob.
went for a little ride around Bergamo and then cheered his teammates on from the sidelines. But Orica Bike Exchange did tweet this. Apparently, he didn't just chase, he chased heroically. And they also say that they were disappointed that he won't feature in this amazing race, but he will be back, which is better than saying you're fired with immediate effect.
Do you think you'll still get a share of the prize money from the day?
We did sign on, didn't he?
Yeah,
He did do some riding.
He did some
And he cheered
riding.
his teammate on to victory.
What more can you ask for?
I mean, how embarrassing must that be? I mean, to be honest with you, say how embarrassing, because it almost happened to me.
You know firsthand how
I
embarrassing
do know
it is.
firsthand. I
Why
didn't
did
quite
you
miss
miss
the
the
race.
start?
Well, I was on the toilet. Oh, fell off the step. Run out of toilet paper at a particular stage of Torino Adriatico. Came out of the toilets eventually. The race caravan had completely gone. Only my team car and Sean Yates there screaming his head off at me.
There was no toilet paper. How did you resolve that situation in order to then chase back on?
Well, I had to get Sean Yates to speak to one of the barmen to get me some toilet paper so I could finish off and then come out. And all that, during that time, I kind of lost the plot a little bit. Anyway, I caught the peloton eventually after about 5 or 6k of chasing, then got dropped immediately up the first climb.
Okay, should we get this back on track now?
Yeah.
Interestingly and controversially,
Cheers,
Giuseppe Martinelli, the manager of Astana, criticised Diego Rosa for finishing runner-up, saying that had he followed team orders, he would have won. Slightly rich, I think, given that it was obvious Rosa was working for a far weaker Fabio Aru for most of the event. And some more controversy in northern Belgium at the Tour Eurometropole. Dylan Groenewegen given the win there, but he beat Oliver Nason in a sprint, but veered quite severely off his line. Lots of people saying he should have been disqualified for that, including Jasper Stuyven of Team Trek Segafredo.
Tension building nicely amongst the sprinters though for the World Championships in a couple of weeks.
We also were treated to a classic podium shot after that race, weren't we? I do love a grumpy podium shot. Anyway, from one super exciting race to another, arguably the most exciting race of the week was the first round of the super prestige cyclo-cross in Gieten, and it was a welcome return to Mathieu van der Poel, who's been out with injury for quite some time and proving a suitable arch nemesis for Wout van Aert. They had a classic battle.
Yeah, they did. And on the last lap, Mathieu van der Poel, should I say, had a bit of a distance in front of Wout van Aert, but then he clipped one of the barriers, toppled over, allowing Wout van Aert to get on terms. But then they had a ding-dong battle from there to the finish. They sprinted up the final climb of sand like two Usain Bolts, basically, with bikes on their backs. But unfortunately, once they got to the top, Wout van Aert found his chain had dropped. And so Mathieu van der Poel took the win. But we're going to see plenty more battles between them this season, and probably for the next 10 years, let's face it.
Two Usain Bolts with bikes on
I was
sand.
going to say, I've got quite a mental image going on.
That's some image.
Yeah, that's a race I want to see.
Sorry, I can't get that out of my head, really.
Yeah. In the women's race, it was Sana Kant.
Who certainly can.
She
I've got the first one in of the season.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
It's that time of year again.
Sunny
Sunny
can.
can. Yeah. Anyway, she took the first round of the women's Super Prestige series.
Hold on a minute. know what the time is?
I do. That's why I've got this here.
It's time for GCN's Wattage Bazooka!
I tell you what, is that Rob Power's watch you got there?
Yeah, I borrowed it off him. It doesn't work particularly well.
Funny that.
But there we go. We're talking of Rob Power from Orica Bike Exchange. He is this week's recipient of the Pro Wattage Bazooka. Now, information that I've gleaned from sources on the ground in Bergamo suggests that Rob Power was actually dropping a sort of bazooka before he then launched his secondary bazooka, which fell somewhat short of regaling the peloton, but his efforts were so heroic and so watch-worthy. There he is, he's been given the award.
Well
Fair
done,
play,
Robert.
Wattage
Might not get a share
Bazooka.
of the prize money, but you get one of these.
Nice. All right
Cracking
then.
work.
So the GCN viewer Wattage Bazooka this week goes to Tobias Kongstad for his epic 100k solo break to win the inaugural Tour of Reykjavik. That's not bad for a 20-year-old lad, and you can check out from this video, his numbers, pretty impressive. That also looks decidedly grim, doesn't it? So a well-deserved Wattage Bazooka for you.
I bet his legs wrecked a bit at the end of that ride.
Oh!
My goodness.
Boom!
Right, if you want to nominate somebody for next week's viewer Wattage Bazooka, you've just got to use his hashtag on various forms of social media.
You know, someone commented last week, I can't believe you guys drop so many dad jokes, but when they're that funny,
I'm laughing at my own
when
joke.
they're that
I'm
funny,
so
how can you
sorry.
not laugh at dad
That's
jokes?
genius.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Laugh at them, haven't they?
Yeah.
Dom has chosen 2 tweets for us this time around, and both of them have come from Instagram, and both of them from Orica Bike Exchange's Jack Haig.
Instas then.
Yeah, the first one
please,
says,
right.
pre-training today with @Jens Kirkelera, who was explaining to me the Global Cycling Network's 7 magnificent ways to stand with your bike. He's demonstrating one now. I'm unsure about it though. Don't know why he was unsure.
Absolutely
I was gonna say,
nailed
that
it.
looks perfect.
That's the reverse flip right there.
Next
Perfect.
up, a new day, a new position from Jens Kirkelera displayed thanks to Global Cycling Network. Again, no, I don't think I'll be doing this one anytime soon either.
That one there is a
Yeah,
cherry.
there are
pie.
only
pretty
certain people that
cool.
can master those kinds
Yeah.
of positions, admittedly, Jack.
I think Jens probably qualifies.
It's not bad. I'd say 8 out of 10 for that one. Just needs to stand up a little bit straighter and he nailed it.
Yeah, it's a postural issue.
Comment of the week now, which is where you guys hit us with your top bants in the comment sections under our video. First up, we've got this one, which is under last week's show actually, from Hello, it's me, Tom, who said Simon saying top bants was probably the most horrible thing I've ever heard. I don't know what you mean.
You did that especially for him.
Completely
Just give him a
agree,
hot
Yeah,
tap
top
dance there.
bants, Tom.
2 similar comments underneath, how long should you take off your bike? The first one from John Lucock, who says, cheers Lasty, your legs reminded me, I need to get some milk on the way home.
Genius,
Ewan
that
de Jong
is
says,
genius.
been a long winter, Tom, haven't seen legs that white on a living person.
That's a British summer.
Sorry
isn't
Lasty,
it?
not here to defend himself, but quite funny.
And we'll just go back to Hello, it's me, Tom. Bants is spelt with a Z, pal. Anyway, moving down underneath the Satisfactory Tour, this is from Carathavrom TSR, who says, I must say that the absence of puns about the company name is really unsatisfactory.
There's some top bants.
There's
this
some
week.
top bants there, yeah.
With a Z.
Yeah, dad humour.
On the channel this week on Wednesday, it's how to get on and off your bike with the legend of cyclo-cross, Sven Nys. And on Thursday, it's the 5 unwritten rules of cycling, Volume 2.
Are we up to 10 then now?
Yeah.
Good maths. Friday is another episode of Ask GCN Anything, and then Saturday's bike is another presenter one, this time from Milky Legs himself, Tom Last.
Milky legs.
So, Sunday, it really is going to be a video this week about wider tyres and wider rims. We had you going last week. Here it is. And then on Monday, we tell you how to choose the correct style of handlebar for you.
And then on Tuesday,
welcome to the GCN Show. Woo!
we shall end the show as ever with Extreme Corner, and this week it is a return for Trek Segafredo Pro Nicolo Bonifacio. You might remember a few weeks ago he did an amazing stoppie down a descent in Italy, and this time he's back with Win
Masters.
Yeah, doing his Wheelie Wednesdays, and very impressive it is too.
Very impressive.
Check this out.
Abbiamo parcheggiato fuori mano, tu non chiamare più che ti
Right, unfortunately that is the end of the GCN show, but don't panic because we have more content here on GCN, much more in fact, including video just up there, which is the one we talked about earlier on, about cyclists and trucks. How do we make it safer?
Now for something just a little bit different, one from the archives in fact, nearly 2 years ago in fact. How about clicking just down here for our downhill presenter challenge without any chains?
In fact, to subscribe to the channel, click on the globe if you haven't done so already.
You're only suggesting that one because you won.
Oh, don't spoil it!
Forgot about that.
Hashtag spoiler.
Giving the plot away.